Brute force actually worked.
Okay, done. I yanked it apart.
New tech! Today we crack phones. iPhone Air. Apple's thinnest smartphone ever. This is the Huawei Mate70 Air, the slimmest in the Huawei Mate series to date. This is the Moto X70 Air, a phone that claims not all air is true air. We've bought all three of these Air models, and today we'll do a full teardown comparison to see which one has the tightest stack and which one is the true air. Let's also check their internal designs and materials, what sets them apart and shines. Alright, no more talk, let's just start tearing down. Huawei and Moto both are brand new retail units we bought and have not opened yet. Let us unbox them now. It's quite slim. I picked their flagship color, the Huawei Mate. Air is indeed very wide, much larger than the iPhone Air. We haven't bought a Moto phone in ages. Look, there's even a poster of their brand ambassador on the Moto box here. And there's this Pantone color swatch card. No way! So fragrant. They even sprayed perfume in the box. Open, what is this poster of the brand ambassador? Film photos. This is the first time I have seen such things in a phone. Take out my phone. Oh, this color looks quite nice. Okay, all three Air models are now unboxed. As you can see, the Huawei Mate70 Air is indeed the largest. And the Moto X70 Air is slightly smaller, sitting between Huawei and the iPhone Air. Before we crack them open, I will measure the weight and thickness of these three Air models to see if they are as slim and light as the specs claim. Let us start with the iPhone Air. 164.45 grams. Roughly 165 grams. Then, strictly speaking, even we measured 0.5 grams lighter. Next up, the Moto X70 Air. 160.00 grams for Moto X70 Air. The official spec says 159 grams, but our measured weight was 1 gram heavier. Then we'll remove its factory screen protector and weigh it again. 158.58 grams, which is about half a gram lighter than the stated 159 grams. Now let us weigh the 208 grams Huawei Mate70 Air. 210.71 grams, 2.7 grams heavier than the official spec. Now let's remove the film. 209.05 grams, still 1 gram heavier than Huawei stated 208 grams. Next, we'll measure its thickness. Grab our vernier calipers. Let's measure the thinnest iPhone Air first. Right at the center, 5.63 millimeters. Okay, the middle base spot, 5.63 millimeter. This iPhone Air, our measured thickness is nearly the same as the official spec, just 0.02 millimeters more. Okay, next we shall measure the Moto X70 Air with an official 5.99 millimeter thickness. Okay, 6.22 millimeters. The bottom is even thicker, 6.36 millimeters there. No matter how we measured this Moto X70 Air, it was always thicker than the stated 5.99 millimeters. And last, let's check the Huawei Mate70 Air, which is claimed to be 6.6 millimeters thick. At the side center, 6.64 millimeters, very close to the stated 6.6 millimeters. Okay, with a thickness of 3 phones. We've measured everything now. The iPhone Air's weight and thickness match the specs exactly. Moto X70 Air, our measured thickness was 0.2 millimeter more than the official spec, while the Huawei Mate70 Air matched the stated thickness but weighed 1 gram more. Alright, let's now begin the teardown. Moto and Huawei are unactivated new phones. No worries, not being activated won't stop us from disassembling. Alright, let's start with the iPhone Air first. We need to remove the screws. There are 2 at the bottom of the iPhone Air. Okay, the iPhone Air back cover is now lifted. Okay, the iPhone Air rear panel is now open. This internal design is truly stunning. Great, the iPhone Air rear case is now fully detached. You can see it's covered with graphite thermoconductive stickers and has a ring of magnets. This FFC is for the flash and the microphone. Okay, the Huawei Mate70 Air back cover is off now. This time, we must marvel Huawei batteries now use stretch release adhesive. The Huawei back cover also has a flex cable, which runs all the way here and features 2 contact points that connect to the mainboard. Huawei's rear case has quite a lot of glue here. You can see glue applied in this area as well. Now, let's take apart the Moto X70 Air. Successfully separated. Now we've removed the backs of all 3 phones entirely. Apple has just 1 rear camera. Moto has 2, while Huawei boasts 4 lenses, 1 main camera and 1 upright telephoto lens. an ultra-wide angle and a red maple original color camera. Mid is a flash lamp. Then Apple's entire battery takes up a huge chunk. It's oddly shaped with dents here and bulges in other spots. It even shaped the battery to make way for these buttons here. But I think this take photo button is truly redundant on the iPhone Air. Why give me one with just a single lens? And this is the large vibration motor. That's the bulged out section. This battery might add 100 or so mAh, taking up the speaker spot. For Apple, battery life trumps sound quality. Apple has the mainboard here, and the CPU is right there. The layout looks quite straightforward. Moto has a full graphite thermal conductive sticker from top to bottom. Huawei also has two large graphite thermal conductive stickers, one on top, one at the bottom, covering the whole phone. And the Moto has a wireless charging coil. Power up is enabled, and Apple supports it too. This Apple FC carries a flash, rear mic, and also powers the wireless charging coil through it. So among these three ultra-thin Air models, Apple and Moto are slimmer, yet still support wireless charging. And I noticed something curious. Why is Huawei's mid-frame so thick and bulky looking? This mid-frame is thick. This is Moto's mid-frame, and this one is the iPhone Air's looking side on. Huawei's mid-frame is twice as wide as the other two. If it were as slim as those two phones, I think its battery could be 200 mAh larger still. Why was it done this way? We'll have to keep disassembling to find out. And for the Moto rear panel, there's a buffer foam in the center, and a thick adhesive seals the edges tightly. So this one supports IP68 and IP69 water resistance. There's a graphite thermoconductive sticker on the mainboard at first glance. Does the Moto have a quad rear camera? No, it just has dual rear cameras. The other one is a flash unit, and beneath it lies the ambient light sensor. Huawei has 4 rear cameras. And on the back cover, we notice a detail. There's a metal plate right in the center, a thin metal sheet bonded there. This is to prevent if something were to press hard against the back, since this Huawei phone is quite wide. This metal plate here can spread a single point force into a broad area, safeguarding the battery. There are some buffer, foam pads here, plus glue, and a mainboard cover to remove. It came off easily. Its wireless charging coil is connected to the mainboard via contacts, along with the AF sensor and flash. The thermal stacking is decent as well. Huawei has a fragile sticker here. Alright, this panel should now be removable. 2 lenses are mounted right on top of this panel. This design feels quite odd to me, rather unusual indeed. Does it lift like this? Oh, and 2 big FCs are tucked beneath here. Okay, the Huawei Mate70 Air mainboard cover is now removed. Quite a few parts here. This cover has a flash sensors and the maple prime color camera module. Great, we've removed the mainboard covers for Moto and Huawei, so we can now see their full layouts. And Apple doesn't have a mainboard cover plate. Huawei has the largest battery capacity, so its size is the biggest as well. Typical capacity, 6,500 mAh, 24.7 Wh. Rated energy is 24.24 Wh. Moto's typical capacity is 4,800 square meter ampere hour, 18.29 Wh, with a rated energy of 17.74 Wh, notably smaller than Huawei S. And Apple's is smaller here. But this back panel has no silk screen printing at all, just Apple's logo and some English text labels. All the specs are printed on the inner side near the display. The entire Moto mainboard and its front section are covered with copper foil, while Apple uses graphite thermal conductive stickers. Let's keep disassembling and see which of these 3 boards has the densest layout design. Okay, this Huawei one has a single battery and port 66 watt power up, long zoom, and main camera removed. This main camera is quite large in size, likely the best for photos among these 3 Huawei. Brute force actually worked. A bit much. I've removed the speaker on this Mate70 Air, but it's already battle scarred. You can see loads of glue here. This glue is quite excessive. I didn't pour alcohol on the main board or screen area, just in case I might crack the screen and lose more than gain. Alright, this cover is now removed. Okay, Huawei board is removed. This S-shaped motherboard is neat the cutout house. 2 cameras, 1 speaker. And the back is coated with thermal paste. This thermal paste is gray, the cement-smelling thermal paste. Folks often refer to, and the one front-facing camera. This design is highly integrated as well. First, the CPU is here, then the flash memory, and this is the main heat source in this area. Above it is the second layer connected to the mainboard via NFC. Alright, now this unit is fully disassembled. Huawei next, let's take apart the Moto mainboard. Moto uses a single battery, but has dual ports, 2 cameras, 1 ultra-wide angle, 1 main camera. The top speaker here is much smaller than Huawei's in terms of size. Okay, there's glue here as well. Thermal grease was applied in many spots here. Shine by half of this has a thermal paste, half does not. Surely you should cover the entire CPU and even some paste spilled onto the midframe. Okay then, the top speaker is connected to the mainboard via contacts, and its specs are quite subpar indeed. Looking at it now, this unit is quite compact indeed. We fully disassembled this Moto mainboard. Next up is the iPhone Air mainboard. This is a speaker and a 3D face recognition module. Okay, just pop off the speaker. This is the sole speaker unit in the iPhone Air model. This speaker is ring-shaped and matches its decal design in form and structure. Exactly. The supplier is AC, and this is the main camera, the sole one on the iPhone Air. Its size is quite substantial, even bigger than the Huawei Mate70 Air. This Apple is a design beast, a stacking beast. There are still parts here, unlike Huawei and Moto, which leave no components on the frame after disassembly. iPhone Air has more parts. The power, FFC, is detached, and this is the mainboard. FC once removed, the screws are exposed. Why can't I pull it off? Can't remove it. FFCs are on the back. Okay, I finally removed the iPhone Air mainboard. This is the A19 Pro chip. It's a dual layer board. Let's first look at the 3 Air model sports. Yes, compared to our regular flagship phones, they are indeed quite compact. Huawei has 2 cutouts in the middle. Moto's main camera and speaker are cut out too, and Apple, no cutouts. I just sidestep wherever components sit. From what I can see, the iPhone Air board is surely the smallest, and likely the most densely packed as well. Once we've removed the main board, we'll next take out their small boards. Huawei's vibration motor is circular and sits in the lower right corner of the body, aligning neatly with the midframe. The rounded edges are quite similar as well. Then comes the Z-axis linear motor. We must remove the battery first. Such a large one. This is the biggest battery ever in a Huawei flagship phone. Here's the FFC, linking mainboard and subboard, the screen. FFC. Okay, this is the main speaker of the Huawei Mate70 Air. Last step in the teardown, we removed the SIM card tray. Close call, almost there. Brute force actually worked. The Huawei Mate70 Air is quite large and supports physical SIM cards with dual SIM plus a red waterproof gasket on the slot. Alright, this small board from Huawei is packed with components. The Type-C port and the SIM card tray are all on one single board. Do you still recall when someone asked if the Huawei Mate70 Air had a metal frame? The official answer was polymeric composite with added metal. In fact, all phones have metal midframes inside. Once we took it apart, we saw beneath the mainboard, this entire body section and the sides here are indeed metal. But the part we touch here with our hands is plastic. And you can see there are no bricks here. Only plastic allows that. Even Apple with metal must have bricks. Here we go. This is a very compact and neat motor. At this point, we've almost fully disassembled the Huawei Mate70 Air. Next up, we'll disassemble the Moto X70 Air. This Moto uses an X-axis LRA, and its size looks like the 0809 model. Please note that this Moto phone, so slim as it is, supports in-display fingerprint. Huawei uses side-mounted fingerprint sensors, while iPhone has front-facing 3D Face ID. Okay, this is a short focus fingerprint module. It's still about because ultrasonic fingerprint sensors can be extremely thin, much thinner than this. We mentioned this in our previous teardown video. Okay, this is the Moto main speaker. It's an AAC unit. Final step, we remove the SIM card tray. This Moto SIM card tray is just a standard SIM card tray indeed. Yes, Moto even added a physical SIM card in its 6.2mm thin body. A tiny PCB, a Type-C port, some FFC sockets, and a main bottom mounted microphone. If your Type-C port breaks down, you can just swap this small board at the service center. Whoa, this FC is down there again. Nightmare. Just days ago, I took apart a Nubia Z80 Ultra. Then the FFC was beneath the battery, and I pried it out with a tool, snapped the FFC. I posted on Weibo I've torn down all the flagship phones, launched in China this October. And we made a video too. Feel free to check it out. Take out the vibration motor first. This one is likely a CO809, quite compact. Now, let's remove the battery. It's open. Moto X70 Air's battery is fully removed now. It's very thin. How about compared to Huawei's, their battery is indeed thicker. The manufacturer is NVT in Dongguan. All of them, including Huawei's, are made there too. I'll talk about this all design now then. The SIM card tray is on the screen flex cable. If it breaks, you must replace the whole flex cable and also remove the battery. And over here, we have other FCs for fingerprint sensors, the speaker, vibration motor, and power up. Okay, this time I didn't puncture the screen flex cable, since I didn't push hard this time.
Alright, the entire Moto phone is now almost fully disassembled. Next up, we'll tackle the iPhone Air, the part most of you and I are most excited about. The iPhone battery's unique stretch release adhesive loses stickiness when powered. Grab our adjustable PSU. Okay, set the power to 9 volt. Clamp the negative lead to this screw post and the positive to the stretch release adhesive. Wait 1.5 minutes and the battery will come off. It fell. The steel cased battery from the iPhone Air is out now. And there's no adhesive residue left on this mid-frame. Let's check the battery's printed specs. You can see it has CCC certification and the cells are from a TL. The capacity is 3159 mAh, 12.352 Wh. The voltage is 3.91 V. Rated energy 12.263 Wh. The manufacturer is Sunwater Electronics Company, Limited, second branch. Sunwater batteries with TL cells. No glue residue at all. Here's the process text of where it came off. This is a steel case battery for iPhone Air. You can see this wrist section right here. It's the battery's control unit. Now, let's look at the body. First, this vibration motor is huge, Apple. Even skipped the main speaker to use this large LRA unit. So this motor is extremely crucial to Apple, just how vital it is. This long FC runs from one end to the other way longer than the 08, 09 and likely top tier for Android. In terms of motor size.
Good.
A Mac at the top of the body. One more part. And a Mac on the bottom. Right? That's all. This FFC here has 2 FFC connectors on top. And even this one is shaped like a battery. Truly a detail obsessive. Let me give an example. If your iPhone Air power up port is broken, then to replace it, you'd have to disassemble the entire phone to swap out the power up port. Alright, turn it here now. All the internal parts of these 3 phones have been mostly disassembled by me. The iPhone Air is surely the thinnest. Once you pop off the back, it's spotless and neat. Once I took it apart, you saw this pile. Everything came out from inside the device. The Moto phone is the easiest to disassemble, since its mainboard and daughterboard use the same screw type, which are all exposed externally. Just unscrew the screws you see, and you can take it all apart. Huawei packs the most components among these 3 phones. Its quad rear camera is genuine, and it features symmetrical speakers, a top speaker, and a bottom one, both quite large in size. You can see clearly that both of these still have a 3-part body layout. But after Apple's iPhone Air was fully disassembled, I saw no clear dividing lines, just a few screws here. There are just 2. Now let's disassemble the screens of these 3 phones.
Okay, the iPhone Air screen seems fully removed. Now, hope it did not get damaged in the process. The iPhone Air body now leaves just a titanium alloy mid-frame with a graphite thermal conductive sticker fully covering the central metal plate. Wow, the application technique is superb. You can see the iPhone Air screen, back panel, and base are metal, not the copper foil commonly used in Android phones. Okay, the Moto X70 Air screen has been fully removed as well. Okay, Huawei screen came off cleanly. Look at how strong their adhesive really is. This is the VC liquid, cooled heat spreader of Huawei Mate70 Air. How big is this vapor chamber? Have you seen one of these large in phones before? This is my first. Why can't this vapor chamber be removed? It seems welded to the phone's mid-frame now. This must be the first time the vapor chamber is part of the frame now. If we remove this vapor chamber, the frame is hollow inside, unlike Moto's, which has a more standard design. Huawei's one is fully covered here. And for this Moto unit, the bottom and sides are machined aluminum alloy pieces that reinforce the entire body frame. Okay, just a twist and it came off. Look, this big, and then there's the frame of the Moto X70 Air. We stripped it completely clean. And the iPhone's mid-frame on this side, you see no traces of steel, but flip it over. Wow, 2 machined gleaming strips. This is aluminum alloy. And then its outer shell is titanium alloy, a very shiny grade indeed. Aluminum alloy and titanium alloy are also injection molded with some plastic parts as well. Huawei's mid-frame here has a plastic outer layer polymeric composite, and inside it is LMG alloy. And in the middle is a steel VC heat spreader. One must applaud this innovation. Whoa, this thing just won't come off at all. This. Good twist. Once removed, the whole body bent because I pulled too hard. The frame felt hollow now. Okay. Friends, we've taken apart all three Air units now. Every single component is laid out on my table right here. And this time, I did a full and complete teardown. I had planned to reassemble it, but I took it apart far too thoroughly. Once the vapor chamber is removed, it can be reattached as it uses one-time adhesive. Although these three phones are quite slim in profile, their internal components and parts are numerous indeed. Let's start with Apple. The iPhone Air is the thinnest, but its overall design is quite complex. With a huge number of parts and screws, the Moto X70 Air is slightly thicker. This one is the easiest to disassemble among the three, just average difficulty. Huawei's Mate70 Air is trickier than the Moto X70. Its component stacking is more complex and it has more parts. Especially this one, the mid-frame and vapor chamber are integrated. I've never seen a body like this before, where the vapor chamber contributes to the structural strength of the device. Once you take this off, the middle frame is just a hollow frame indeed. Most phones usually have at least some hollowed out middle parts, though most still feature a metal mid-frame. Huawei's battery section is fully hollowed out. Once it was taken apart, I understood why the gap between Huawei's battery and frame is so wide. It ensures structural strength. If it were any narrower, the strength would drop it D-band or crack quite easily. This design is all interlinked. Alright, then. We fully disassembled all three Air models. I had planned to reassemble them but got carried away and stripped everything down. Even the vapor chamber was removed. So in this case, reassembling is quite unlikely. Though I can't reassemble them, I did notice some quite fascinating things. Let's talk about the thickness first. Using a vernier caliper, only the iPhone Air and Huawei Mate70 Air matched their stated thickness, while the Moto X70 Air, even with its film removed, fell short of the claimed 5.99mm. The 5.99mm claimed by specs wasn't met. Our measured thickness was 6.22mm. Then I measured key component thickness. The screen modules of all three Air models are roughly the same between 1 and 1.1. The mid-frame is just 0.44mm thick since iPhone Air lacks vapor chamber. The other two Air models have VC heat pipes, making them 0.5mm thicker. For the back panel, iPhone Air with wireless charging and magnets is the thickest at 1.01mm. The Mate70 Air back panel is just 0.65mm thin. The thickest component in the phone is the battery. iPhone Air's is just 2.7mm. Moto X70 Air is 3.6mm. The Huawei Mate70 Air with a 6500 mAh battery reaches a thickness of 4.22mm. The battery thickness directly affects the phone's bulk. Just these four parts add up to 5.23mm for iPhone Air. Huawei Mate70 is 6.47mm thick, while Moto X70 Air is 6.02mm. Both exceed the claimed 5.99mm thickness. This shows that iPhone Air has a thicker back panel, but a very slim battery, keeping the overall thickness tight. The Huawei Mate70 Air has a thinner back panel, but a much thicker battery, making the whole unit bulkier. We've covered thickness now. Let's move on to talk about weight. We ranked all parts by weight from heaviest to lightest battery, still tops the list at 45 grams for iPhone Air. Moto is 57 grams, while Huawei Mate70 Air is 74 grams. Then the mid-frame body iPhone and Moto both weigh 28 grams. Huawei with its large area, VC liquid cooling plate tips the scale at 38 grams. The Moto screen module is lightest at 24G. iPhone and Huawei both weigh 30G. iPhone's Back Plus wireless charging is heaviest at 30G. The Moto uses plain leather, and even with wireless charging, it weighs just 18 grams. Huawei's back panel is around 23 grams. For the phone's core mainboard, iPhone weighs 9.7 grams, Moto 13 grams, and Huawei 16.6 grams. Rear cameras, iPhone has just one lens, yet weighs same as Huawei's 4-lens setup. Moto has a small sensor and just two lenses, so it's lightest, with big speaker gaps in weight. iPhone has one speaker, yet it weighs the same as Moto's dual ones, about 3.5 grams. Huawei uses dual large-sized symmetrical speakers, weighing 7 grams, exactly twice as much as theirs. The iPhone has much to say about its vibration motor. The large X-axis one weighs 4.7 grams. Moto uses 0809, weighing 1.78 grams, while Huawei uses a compact Z-axis motor, just 0.99 grams. Moto and Huawei have mainboards, subboards, SIM trays, and physical SIM card slots, while iPhones lack these parts, giving them a slight weight edge. Based on disassembly and weighing all components, we can see that Huawei achieved 208 grams due to heavier batteries and a heavier VC module. Just these two parts add nearly 40 grams more than iPhone Air. And in total weight, Huawei is just 43 grams heavier than iPhone, so these two parts largely account for Huawei's 208 grams total. Huawei uses a 6500 mAh battery, which I think is a wise and necessary choice. You can't cut the battery down to just 3,000, 4,000 mAh for extreme slimness and lose daily battery life. But to be fair, Apple's 19 Pro is quite efficient and helps offset its smaller battery capacity. So it dares to use such a small battery, yet a massive vapor chamber is quite rare, especially in ultra-thin phones. I suspect it's due to Kirin 9020B's heat output, so the large vapor chamber helps manage device temperatures well. Why doesn't iPhone Air use a vapor chamber? First, the A19 Pro manages heat far more efficiently. Second, Apple might think users of this phone likely don't game much. We measured battery energy density for all three phones. The top one is Huawei Mate70 Air. A density of 856 Wh per liter, ranking 7th on our list. The iPhone Air and Moto X70 Air have similar battery energy densities, around 810 Wh per liter, which is quite high and ranks them roughly number 20. So if Huawei wanted, trim-in battery size could let it hit over 100 grams and 5.5 millimeters thickness easily. Of course, we must acknowledge that Huawei's body is wider and bulkier, giving it more volume. But Huawei chose not to cut thickness and prioritized battery. I think Huawei's choice of such a large battery ties to the Kirin 9020B's power draw. That is why the Huawei Mate70 Air is so thick and heavy. Digging deeper still, it all boils down to this Kirin 9020B chip. This SoC issue is indeed quite hard to resolve. So high power draw means big batteries and heat spikes mean massive VC liquid. Cooled heat spreaders let us see what gains the upcoming Kirin 9030 brings. So from this teardown, we can see that Huawei has given us everything they could on the Mate70 Air in the major aspects. But some features still show cost cutting. For instance, it only has a Z-axis motor, while even the small X-axis one would have sufficed. No wireless charging, so you cannot use carpet to power up, no sturdier metal frame for better feel, etc. So Huawei Mate70 Air and iPhone Air have never been the same kind of phone. Here's a hot comment from a netizen. Apple tries to make slim phones as normal as can be. Huawei tries to make normal phones as slim as possible. Moto makes a fairly normal phone, slim and light. Alright, that's the end of our 3 Air units teardown review. All 3 Air models were retail units we bought ourselves, not media samples. We spent over 10,000 on this video. If you found this video useful or enjoyable, please like, comment, favorite, and share to support us. We'll bring more fun teardown videos later, including drop test and teardown reviews for the 3 Pro Max units. Would anyone like to see those? Team Technology, latest tech review. I'm Zhang Yu, who takes phones apart and leaves them so. See you in the next video. Goodbye.